Welcome to Trending Update USA. This is your host, Steffan, and today I am bringing you one of the most talked about stories shaking the world of tennis and global sports media. The tennis universe has exploded after confirmation that BBC Sport will broadcast the historic Battle of the Sexes clash featuring Aryna Sabalenka against Nick Kyrgios. This isn't just another exhibition match, it's a cultural moment, a media storm, and a clash built for world headlines, fan debate, and generational legacy. When sports media and tennis disruptor personalities collide, the result is always fireworks, but this time, it's bigger than attitude, bigger than rivalry, bigger than trophies. It's about redefining competition, gender narratives, and sport entertainment itself. The phrase, Battle of the Sexes, carries serious historical weight. Tennis has staged gender versus gender exhibitions before, most famously when Billie Jean King defeated Bobby Riggs in 1973 in a match that challenged public stereotypes and became one of sport's most symbolic moments. Now, more than 5 decades later, tennis faces the same question: can this sport once again spark cultural conversation while delivering elite entertainment? With the selections of Sabalenka and Kyrgios, tennis fans got the most unpredictable matchup possible. One brings the power-driven reliability of a world number one contender, the other thrives in chaos, unfiltered commentary, and psychological warfare. Put them in one court, one broadcast, one global spotlight, and the energy practically writes itself. Let's start with Sabalenka, arguably the most feared striker in women's tennis. With a serve that routinely crosses 120 miles per hour, ground strokes that bully opponents into submission, and a mentality hardened by years of high-pressure finals, Sabalenka's presence in this match signals something simple. This is not symbolic participation, it's serious competition. She isn't walking onto the court to make a point, she's walking on to win, dominate, and silence narrative doubt. Sabalenka enters matches like a storm, heavy, loud, and inevitable. Her game doesn't ask questions, it delivers answers in aggressive baseline rallies, unrelenting pace, and scoreboard pressure that bends even the calmest opponents. Over her career, she has defeated the biggest names in women's tennis, collected titles that resist emotional fatigue, and built a fanbase that celebrates dominance without apology. Her tennis identity is not elegance, it is impact. The moment she swings, stadium silence breaks. So when the announcement dropped that she would face Kyrgios under a Battle of the Sexes title, social media reactions followed one theme: if there is any woman alive in tennis who can compete in raw power, it is Sabalenka. Now Kyrgios, and what can't you say about him? The man is both tennis genius and tennis headache depending on the day. His career has been defined not by ranking stability but by relevance consistency. Kyrgios doesn't need to be seeded to be feared. He's the kind of player who shows up to a tournament, eliminates the script favorite, argues with umpires, flirts with disaster, wins impossible points, and leaves fans asking why there isn't more of that energy. He lives in the spaces sport media can't script: reactions, conflict, comedy, mood swings, tantrums, brilliance, meltdown. Tennis historians will catalog him separately one day, a new category labeled personality-propelled competition. His skill ceiling is higher than his emotional floor is low. He can deliver 140 miles per hour aces casually between arguments. He can underarm serve you into embarrassment. He can jab punch an opponent mentally harder than most can physically rally against. He can lose the crowd before winning them back, or win the match after losing his mind. He brings disruption like oxygen. So of course his name would resurface for a modern Battle of the Sexes. If modern tennis wanted someone controversial enough to pull mainstream attention but skilled enough to justify competition validity, Kyrgios was always the final answer. When media outlets confirmed this broadcast, fans didn't ask if Sabalenka was legend-worthy enough for it. They asked if Kyrgios would behave long enough for it. But that is the genius of this event: you don't tune in for predictability, you tune in for combustion. The broadcast automatically becomes storyline because the competitors are storyline in human form. Even before the first ball is struck, fanbases are splintering themselves into arguments. One group says raw male power still wins this sport if it came to it. Another counters that Sabalenka is the one female talent in the modern era built for the physical translation of competition. A third category exists too, those who don't care who wins, they want chaos, memes, reactions, commentary, personality unhinged segments on live microphones, and tennis that leaves skill universes baffled. The announcement turned tennis into middle-of-the-workday relevance again. The match was strategically packaged by media the way only tennis can allow, respectably, rebelliously, historically, theatrically. The sport has always sat uniquely between elite competition and motion picture drama. Tennis doesn't need protective helmets or halftime shows, it just needs momentum and people who can't shut up under pressure. The court becomes the microphone, the ball becomes the messenger, and the personalities become the soundtrack. The moment the match confirmation dropped, global platforms lit up, debates, predictions, complaints, celebrations, comparisons to 1973, arguments about physicality, gender competitiveness, ranking flexing, historical nostalgia, brand favoritism, broadcast impact analysis, media capital wins, sport narrative inflation, hot take recycling, impression farming. Influencer posts turned journalism, journalism turned influencer posts. A tennis match hasn't triggered such broad ecosystem reactions since the biggest Grand Slam finals, except this one involves no trophies, only narrative territory. Let's take a moment to appreciate the broadcaster itself. The BBC carries global recognition, and when BBC Sport picks up a tennis exhibition under a social provocation theme, it signals that this is not fringe entertainment, it's primetime conversation. BBC understands legacy better than internet hype machines ever will. They don't broadcast narratives, they amplify them. Their approach historically blends professionalism with platform authority. Tennis fans know that when BBC covers a match, the tone respects the sport, the history gets referenced, and the audience reach breaks outside sports fans into casual viewers, social media spectators, and momentum-hungry ecosystems that just want to know what everyone else already knows. This match now gets more than a court. It gets archives. It gets historians paying attention. It gets global validation that this isn't just exhibition tennis, it's a media-era reimagination of tennis' most symbolic format. But let's be honest, this modern era isn't the 1973 era. The initial battle of the sexes happened in an era before TikTok breakdown reels and Twitter mobs. Back then crowds roared physically from stadium seats. Now they roar digitally from comment sections. 100,000 opinions form before the first replay even loads. Tennis controversies get broadcast faster than tennis scores. Narratives mutate in real time. Social media no longer reacts, it leads. Broadcast companies follow trending momentum, and trending momentum collects emotional bias like interest on a loan. So this match between Sabalenka and Kyrgios isn't just a court moment, it's a multi-platform referendum on gender, competition legitimacy, sport provocation, media story packaging, and tennis ability to still disrupt the mainstream when tools like Instagram and Twitter exist to write the headlines early. Another dimension, tennis styles themselves. If this match was paired as serve versus serve, Kyrgios still holds a technical MPH advantage, but Sabalenka reduces the gap more than any other female competitor could. If it becomes rally versus rally, mental discipline works for Sabalenka but works against Kyrgios, unless mental games count, in which case Kyrgios is seeded number 1. Tennis fans sleep on Kyrgios' psychological batting average, but it's probably his highest career stat. If the match favors execution under noise, Sabalenka thrives. If it favors execution under emotion, Kyrgios thrives. If it favors conditioning in extended rallies, Sabalenka again carries reliability. If it favors impossible highlight points, Kyrgios wins that category before stepping onto the court. So the match question becomes not who hits harder or serves faster, but who survives the internal narrative pressure, while the audience debates which universe of competition matters more. Tennis matches now have subcategories of victory, scoreboard, narrative, highlights, crowd, influence, relevance, ideology confirmation, ideology disruption, entertainment ROI, philosophical message clarity, philosophical message distortion, memeability, microphone moments, emotionally quotable segments, psychologically teasing point wins. This match could give Sabalenka the scoreboard but give Kyrgios the internet, or give Sabalenka the court while Kyrgios steals the broadcast timeline. Fans are also reading this through rival fanbase lenses. The women's tennis fan community protects Sabalenka not because she needs rescuing but because dominance is more defensible than disruption. Men's tennis fans ride for Kyrgios not because his game is historically reliable but because his wins feel personal, dramatic, unpredictable, rebellious, anti-system. Exhibition tennis gives both communities new fuel. One says this match strengthens women's competition legitimacy. The other says it strengthens tennis entertainment credibility itself. Everyone wins but consensus. This event also hits brand economy. Tennis exhibitions now involve broadcast audience metrics, streaming commentary traction, social provocation click potential, cross-gender analysis spikes, sponsor satisfaction rumors, broadcasting rights justification, platform optimization stakes, microphone moment insurance, global media reach ROI. Tennis careers are no longer USD valued only by trophies but attention value, personality stock, broadcast desirability, sponsorship narrative safety, algorithmic liquidity. This match delivers liquidity. Sabalenka invests physicality. Kyrgios invests relevance volatility. BBC invests platform authority. The internet invests ideological noise. Tennis invests cultural reset button. Combined payout, global attention dividend for everyone except neutrality.